So I was watching my grandma attempt to deep throat a massive eggplant, and I thought to myself, man, I would really love a boomer shooter where you play as a sexy waifu, violently destroying other gun-wielding waifus in a post-apocalyptic Earth that seems to have been almost completely obliterated by some crazy god-type force. My grandma, exhausted from the eggplant endeavor, finally took a break on the living room couch, slowly expelling last night's hot dog water that she drank before bed. Granny's a squirter, which is why we put plastic covers on the furniture. So it's a good thing that my man of culture gaze was pointed towards a certain boomer shooter on Steam that goes by the name Beyond Citadel. At first glance, I thought I could tell just about everything I needed to know about this game. I love boomer shooters, and one look at the art style made me think this game would be similar to other games in its genre. Kind of tongue-in-cheek campiness and over-the-top insane weapons like chainsaws that come to your knees or dual-wielding farming sickles. I thought Beyond Citadel would be similar, but themed after waifus and anime tropes, with the player character constantly moaning and doing the face, spouting innuendo one-liners left and right. But when I started playing, I shit in my own pants. This game presents a surprising amount of atmosphere that I wasn't expecting. The opening level after the tutorial is completely devoid of music, with the sound of creepy high winds blowing through the windows of the building I find myself in. The tombs of long-dead biblical heroes line the halls, with plaques in front explaining who they were and what they represent. Leaving the opening area, I was presented with a desolate landscape that strongly reminded me of Evangelion after Shinji and Asuka crawl out of the orange Fanta. Except this time, I was the one spooging in my own hand. There's an achievement in this game that directly references Evangelion as well, and I thought that was pretty cool. The ruins of various structures are sticking up ominously from the ground, firm and erect, showing it once stood there. The blank skybox and desolate landscape really made me feel like I was in Detroit.
Take him to Detroit. No! No, not Detroit! No!
There are a few simple early game enemies here to give you some basic combat experience. Venturing further in the opening level, the game seems inspired by one of the greats. The muted color palette and series of straight, narrow hallways remind me of the original Wolfenstein, but with evolved level design. These levels become increasingly more complex and add more verticality in enemy types as you progress through the game. When it comes to combat, any shooter's most important aspect, Beyond Citadel does some small but crazy shit. The way the guns behave is very realistic, with the player not only having to manually eject and reload magazines, but also load rounds into the chamber with a separate button press. Continuing to press your cock and balls button will eject unspent rounds from the chamber onto the floor. Super cool detail. Guns that don't use magazines, such as the cavalry carbine, require a separate button press for every round you wish to load before firing. It's amazing how immersive and cool the gunplay feels just by adding a step or two to the basic reload sequence, instead of just pushing reload and not thinking about it. The standard reload style is there as an option if you prefer it, and if you're not some kind of mashed potato man like myself, you can switch to it whenever you want. Weapons also decay over time, requiring attention and regular maintenance, lest a weapon in bad shape jam or malfunction on you during combat. I was pleasantly surprised at the amount of depth on offer here when it comes to weapons and character progression. You have a home base of sorts called Sanctuary, where various NPCs offer you weapon upgrades and repairs, ammo, and body armor in exchange for the currency that enemies drop when killed. You even have an attribute sheet here that lets you add points into various stats that affect your health, the rate at which weapons decay, your max O2 reserve, among other things. You can even increase your run speed, which is crazy since by default the run speed is faster than I run when escaping my first cousin's bedroom in the middle of the night. The visuals call back to FPS greats like Wolfenstein and Doom, with crazy amounts of gore and over-the-top violence during combat. Killing a few of the game's human enemies reveals that they, too, are cute anime girls. But after you're done with them, they are almost entirely obliterated. Enemies can be left with their intestines spilling out onto the floor, or with half their face blown off, revealing the inside of their skull. You can chop off limbs and power slide over the corpses of your foes, exploding their parts all over the room. Character and weapon art are very well drawn, with cool and titillating character designs. My only complaint here is that although the NPCs are well drawn, the in-game render of a few of them is pretty blurry, masking the detail of the drawing. Weapon sounds are punchy and impactful, mixed with the combat animations, makes the gunplay feel awesome. I feel like a kid again, running around the neighborhood squirting my grandma's pussy juice from my super soaker all over my friends. The music does a great job in setting the atmosphere of the game, with a few tracks being quiet, reserved piano pieces that set a melancholy tone, and a few other tracks that bump up the tempo and intensity during heavy combat sequences. I wish some of the tracks were a little longer, so they wouldn't repeat so many times before I was done exploring a level. But other than that, I think the music is excellent. Unlocking more movement options as I played made me feel like a pilot on the frontier. Eventually you'll be air dashing and wall running all over the place, with a grappling hook to attach to your enemy's buttholes to swing around. The only thing missing is calling down my Titan. Oh, never mind, we have big-ass mechs as well. Respawn should be taking notes from this game. There's a compelling story being told here as well. If you're just in it for the shooting, you can play the whole game without really experiencing it, but I think that would be a mistake. There's quite a bit of lore to dig into here if you really want to, and knowing what's going on and why adds some welcome context to why your Martyr-chan does the things she does, and what her goals are. I've seen a few people say that they're turned away from this gem because of the odd juxtaposition of cute anime waifus mixed with over-the-top gore, and that's fair enough. If it's not for them, it's not for them. But I appreciate the developer's unwavering dedication to doing what they want. Beyond Citadel oozes passion and wears its inspiration on his sleeve. You can really tell the developer gives a shit about what they're making, and ensuring the game is really good. I've done a video in the past on censorship in Japan, and I'm very glad to see a product that is uncompromising in its vision despite what Karens in the West may say about it. Beyond Citadel is an excellent FPS, with strong inspiration, great level design that takes advantage of the movement, and far and away the most unique gunplay I've ever experienced. Any shooter fan, whether you prefer modern games or more classic style boomer shooters, I think should check out Beyond Citadel. There's nothing quite like it in gaming right now. There it is, the world's first Gunner shooter, and hopefully not the last. If you want to see more videos like this, I would really appreciate a like and a subscribe. Hopefully I'll see you all in the next stupid, degenerate video.